About to get ready. All right. What is up? Good morning, everyone. That's Eternal Champions Clash of Stage. We'll give that a quick rest. Good morning. What's going on? It is Friday, July 12th, 2024. Friday. So that means the weekend. That means more time to play video games. I cannot wait for that. Good morning, Jamkill X. Ultronomus, good to see you guys. I think we have a party. We're ready to get started. I'm going to start with actually something pretty neat here. I want to play this Sonic game that I've been playing. See what you guys think about it. Just real quick, and then we'll get into news. This is Sonic Robo Blast 2. Was there a Robo Blast 1? I don't know. But this is a just a fan game. It's the idea of if Sega really had made a 3D Sonic game, I guess in the Saturn era. I think this uses the Doom engine. Oh, and it does save my where I'm at. I did not know that. That's cool. I'm gonna start a new file though, because the first level, and there might not be any sound. I just want to kind of show off, like, so this is supposed to be like Doom, you know, in terms of the graphics. Like, it's, you know, not real 3D polygons, you know, but anyway, you can see, like, by the way, the music is fantastic, and I know I don't think you can hear it just the way the stream is set up, but and it feels like playing Sonic in terms of waiting for that momentum to pick up. See, and then you can jump, and then it has, like, you know, momentum to the jump, like when you come up to like a corner or something. Oh yeah, you can double jump. Let's see, and if I like go up here, and I can, or wait, how do I do it? Yeah, let's see. Yeah, little secret areas. I get a little free guy. And then, I mean, there's so much to explore. It's like, it reminds me of what Super Mario 64 is in a way. Like, there's still areas in this where you're running like Sonic for a while. Like, you could see, like, you could just run through the level. Probably not supposed to go that way. But what happens is, like, there's special stages that actually play like if you played Nights into Dreams. A special stage is like a Nights level, which is really fun. And then after 2 zones, you get to fight Robotnik, and it's really fun. It's amazing how the 2D game has been translated to 3D. Like, this is something that probably this weekend I am going to spend my time with it and beat it, because it is legitimately an amazing Sonic game. Like, this is exactly the perfect evolution. The perfect evolution to also kind of complement what a game like Doom does, because you can play Doom today and it's still fun because it just controls really well. And that's the same with the Sonic game. If you like the Sonic controls, like in the 2D game. So yeah, I suggest you guys check it out. Yeah, and I'm gonna figure out some time how to easily get it to where you guys can hear the audio good on that, because with the option here, it's I can share a whole screen or a window. The whole screen does audio, not a window, but then I'd have to crop it, but I'll do all that later. Okay, so I'm glad I got to show that off, because anyway, yeah, search Sonic Robo Blast 2. You should be able to find it. And it's just tons of fun. And I like that I saw that it was like saving my progress, because I was playing yesterday and I had to stop. It's very cool. Okay. Let's, what should we look at today? Let me, I mean, I've got things lined up, but I was playing a little more Batman Arkham Knight yesterday. Again, I've got that Batman bug. And it was funny because my youngest was looking at it. He's all like, that's awesome. It's like Spider-Man. And it is. So it was like $2 on a website. So I got another copy for him. Um, uh, so I played 19 hours of it and beat it. And I've probably played maybe an hour or two since, but I haven't. It's funny because in that Arkham Knight game, it still says I've only completed like 43% of the game. There's so much side stuff. But like I said, when I was playing the other day, a lot of it was incorporating like the Batmobile, and I remember that part wasn't too fun. That was the only thing. And do you guys remember playing Arkham City recently? Because that's the only one I never beat because I don't know what happened. Like, did I never beat it like partway through that? Oh, I wonder if we could find it on here. Let's see. Arkham City, here we go. So that's interesting. There's a games for Windows Live. So I was playing it on PC. And I got 22 of the achievements on there. Let's see. Exit stage right. All the world is a stage. Maybe I did beat it, just not all the side stuff. So isn't that cool how I can go back and look at all this? Arkham Origins. Didn't do much there. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, they're linked up. That's very weird how the Steam and the Games for Windows Live. I guess back when they were doing PC gaming, then they were like linking it that way. I don't know. That's funny though, because that's kind of like an example of the cross progression. And then Arkham Asylum, beat that on 360. Last time I played, that's really neat how I can go back and get all these details on these games. That's pretty neat. Jamkill X, never completed an Arkham game. I think you should try. Just try with the first one. It's unique still. Ultramus, Arkham City was my first Arkham game. It was so cool to me. Yeah, and I keep forgetting if it was that City was what people liked or not. I really forget. I have to go back and remember all that. Because I remember playing Arkham Asylum when it first came out. I remember this job I had. I was working as this account manager, and everyone was like so excited about the game coming out. And then I had it on 360 and just let's see, Arkham. I was just looking at that. So 2011. All right. So anyway, I didn't really do too much else yesterday. I was playing that Sonic Blast 2, Robo Blast 2, and then a little bit of the arcade, and then some Batman. But otherwise, I was kind of hanging out with family. So let's move on. Oh, Jim Kill X is saying City was the one people praised the most. Okay, I remember that. I think cool. So thank you. Let's dive into some other topics, shall we? This one I found very interesting, and I don't know what to think about it. Only because it's almost like I feel them, or do I? So this is weird up here. How do I? Anyway, Nintendo's systematic policy of miscrediting is harming external translators. So remember yesterday we just happened to talk about this thing where in Japan they sometimes don't like name the actual developer. Sometimes they don't really spotlight a creative, and they will every once in a while, but then it doesn't work out, like a Kojima or Koji Igarashi, and they're not and that's Konami, and they're not with them anymore. What's interesting is when Nintendo hires or needs like contract or external parties to help with translating, they actually don't get credit in the game for that, and they have to sign NDAs where they can't talk about it at all. So what they're saying is that's harmful for them. But I wonder really to what degree, because nothing in this article is actually detailed. It just says they sign an NDA where they can't discuss what they've worked on. I would assume, though, you can just at least say, I worked on this, but you just can't discuss the details. Would Nintendo really sue someone for saying, yeah, I worked on this? I don't know. I know here in the US, I've had jobs where there was what they call the, there's a term for it. What is it? No compete. Yeah, non-compete. It's where you can't really go move to another company that may have some related maybe technologies or they're in the same sort of market. And I've had jobs where that has been the case, but I just talked to the, ex-employer and like, would it be fine if I got a job at this place? And they're like, oh yeah, sure. I really think a lot of this stuff is Nintendo again, just being protective. If someone was to say, yeah, I did, or like on their LinkedIn, and it says like I work for this company, and maybe underneath put I did this work, or maybe not even put the company and just put as a person I worked on this title, without going into like detail. I think that would be perfectly fine. There's a lot of things that anyone can put on their LinkedIn or resume that doesn't necessarily have to be like proven. It's more of like, okay, if they know what they're talking about within the industry of that type of skill set, I could hire them. I wonder how much this is like, well, you did sign an NDA, so you can't really talk about it, but you can say you played it, versus people seeing that and being like, oh, I can't believe I signed this NDA. Why? That I don't know. I think this is different than what the real issue I was talking about yesterday, which is not really an issue. It's just a way to do business. Anyway, I just find this interesting, only because I, on the surface, don't see how this could be impacting maybe the industry negatively. But if it is, I would like to dive more into that. Anyway, that's on gamedeveloper.com. So I don't know. Until we see that this is some sort of issue, I think it is in Nintendo's best interest to have NDAs when they're working with contractors or third parties. So anyway, that's that. I think it's harmful since then you can't use this job for your resume. But is that true? Nothing's really saying that, just you can't discuss. But you could say worked on a IP for a large company, and then if they ask for details, you can say, well, I signed an NDA, and then people would get it. I mean, that's kind of the same thing like in the IT industry when, if you're uh, moving around and the technologies, it's like, yeah, I've worked in this technology, but you don't necessarily have to say who or what. So I think it's like it comes with the territory when you're dealing with like a sensitive IP. It's like if you're going to deal with that sensitive IP, it might come with some restrictions. So yeah, so let's move on. There's this other thing that is actually really interesting that it looks weird. I'm going to show you guys here in a second. So Ballistic, never heard of them, teasing a classic Mortal Kombat remaster. So apparently this is a video game company. I looked up this guy, Joe Tresca, and this is his company. And they're working on a classic Mortal Kombat remaster. What would that look like? Well, let me show you guys. So I think you can see this, but it looks very interesting, like how it looks like classic Mortal Kombat, but everything is super detailed. I would love to see it in motion, but it still may just be the few frames a second it was. I don't remember how many, depending on the animation. But what is interesting is it looks like a female character here, and I don't know if that is intended or just what the person looked like, and they called that out. Is that a lady scorpion? But regardless, it looks really cool because it looks like these are ripped straight out of the original game and just upscaled. But I wonder how much of it is like AI upscaling. Just when I look at the wrinkles here on the right of Sub-Zero, a lot of that reminds me of things that come out of AI. Like, yeah, even over on the right-hand side, the lighting here looks a little off. Again, so I don't know if, let's see, I think there was another photo. So this guy is a game developer, has a game developer company, a game development company. So it would seem that it would be obvious that maybe they would make something like this. But at the same time, it's very interesting. I wonder if, the more I'm looking at it, the more I'm just seeing AI. So I wonder if this is real or this guy's trying to get something going. That's actually very interesting. Especially now realizing that this is actually AI. I didn't notice that at first. There's so many little things showing up here, especially like with the shoes down here, with the forearm right here, kind of like the wrinkles and the folds in it. Yeah, even the scorpion right here, like this doesn't make sense. There's things here that, so at first I didn't realize it, I thought, oh, this is just really good, high quality upscaling, but no, a lot of this is AI derived, which I'm fine with. It would be cool to see. I would love to see more games that can actually do this type of stuff, and if it works out. That's interesting. This stuff is super interesting. I think I'm going to make this the thumbnail. Okay. Let's move on. That was, oh, didn't mean to do that. Let me press, what button do I press? Oh, yeah. Bam. Okay, we're back. Showing screen. Okay. Tempest Rising. I actually have a video of the demo of this on the channel. This is like the Command and Conquer RTS I've been waiting for. It looks like there's going to be 2 new missions available only for a limited time from the 18th to the 22nd. So I'm going to be playing that for sure. Yeah, this is just a great game. I can't wait for it. I would be playing it today if I could. Really excited for this quick question that a friend had. Will there eventually be a toggle option for classic CNC mouse controls, or can it be rebound? Good question. Yes, there will be classic RTS control option in the demo and full game. So classic RTS, but I guess maybe they're not saying CNC on purpose because CNC had a very specific control scheme that wasn't part of like StarCraft, for instance, was always the was it where you click left click to select, right click to activate or go or whatever. In the Command and Conquer games, the classic ones, it was left click did everything. And right click would deselect. I was really big on that. I loved being able to use the left click to select what I wanted, deselect when I wasn't doing anything actively. It's funny because being a huge RTS fan, especially in the late 90s, mid to late 90s, between Command and Conquer and StarCraft and the other ones, there was always like minor different controls, but it looks like most RTS games over the years adopted the StarCraft or Warcraft style of controls, which I did not like, but here we are. And then just today, 2024, people are asking, hey, will there be classic controls? So yeah. Okay, moving on. Star Wars Outlaws will feature a fog of war on every planet until you discover the sites yourself. I'm big on that. And actually, the Avatar game did that, didn't it? Or maybe not. But anyway, fog of war, something from Command and Conquer. I love the idea of knowing what I need to explore because it's still covered. So that way it's like, okay, before I really get into this area, let me see from what I've uncovered if there's anything else I need. I mean, that actually could be good or bad because that could get me to be obsessed with making sure I find every little thing before I move on. But that could be a good way to manage this game because when it comes to open world games, I love to play them if they're made well. But the way this looks, it's Star Wars made by Massive. I think I'm gonna go all in on this. Like I'm really gonna play it. It would change like if I play it and then I realize, okay, this actually isn't that great. That's what happened with Jedi Fallen Order. I started playing that and I was like, okay, this is actually super like kind of linear, bare bones in a way. Great production value, awesome story about Star Wars. But when you get into the mechanics of the moment-to-moment gameplay, it was super. I don't want to say it's simple because the game can be challenging. Let's see. Any other? Yeah, because the thing that I think people are worried about is it being too much like Assassin's Creed. But it's saying that this means the map won't be littered with map icons or information, something that is usually present in most Ubisoft titles. So that's what I want to hear. It's like the fog of war helps manage it, but they're also not going to have it littered with icons. So I'm looking forward to this. Looking forward to that 100%. So let's see. This is a good question. I'm curious how fog of war would work on a non-RTS that isn't also Silent Hill. Yeah, I can't think off the top of my head, but there are other games that are not RTSs with the fog of war, and it just helps because you can look at your map and be like, "Oh, I need to go there." Or actually, doesn't Elden Ring do the fog of war? or something. Another open world game where it's like you open and you might see like an icon in the fog of war, and you're like, oh, okay, that's somewhere I need to go eventually. You don't know the path yet. No, Dragon's Dogma. Yeah, Dragon's Dogma does fog of war. Um, yeah, because that's what I would do. I'd look at my map and be like, okay, I see this path, but then it goes into the fog of war. So I'm like, do I go there yet? Should I do something else? So, oh man, Dragon's Dogma. That makes me want to go back and play that again. Dragon's Dogma 2. Because now I'm thinking of areas that I remember there was like fog of war that I never went to, but I beat the game because there's other stuff to do in that game. It's crazy. Let's see. Oh, no, we already read that one. Okay, yeah, I think that's all the main articles that I pulled up. So let's look at what new news has come about. Actually, there was another one. Wait a minute. Yeah, here we go. The Nintendo Switch snatches the NES record as the company's longest successor. So I find that interesting because it doesn't seem like it's the longest lasting, but I think that has to do with, our age and how we perceive things. Like for me, the time between the NES, the Genesis, the SNES, it was like forever. Like I remember always being excited and waiting for like the next new thing coming out. I remember seeing ads for Sonic 2 after playing Sonic 1 and feeling like that took forever, even though it was like a year or two later, right? It's interesting how that works. Like there's things nowadays that might be 5 years apart, but I consider them close together. I think that's just a thing that comes with age. But for Nintendo, this is really cool because Nintendo figured out in my opinion, the ultimate form factor, being able to have something that you can take on the go and have it on your TV. And so for that to be the longest lasting console, without a successor, it makes sense to me. And I think that just shows Nintendo knows what they're doing. So very cool. Very cool. Okay, we're gonna again jump into some of these new things. Let's see. What's in chat? COVID extended the life of man. Of many consoles. There we go. I was about life of man. Yeah, that is completely true. I think that is actually really the case here. Is COVID kind of did a lot, I think, for every industry. And I wonder how much people are going to take that into account. There was a conversation I think it was David Jaffe where I brought up COVID. He's like, "Oh, but that's gone," and I'm like, "Yeah, but I think there's still reverberations that have compounded over time based on what we had to deal with. Where there's still some things being affected by that. I mean, there are companies that are still kind of doing layoffs and stuff that it's kind of based off of them trying to get back to normal, basically." Let's see. It broke up the 5-year cycle, I think. Yeah. That is I think that needs to always be part of that conversation about this generation, especially when you consider when the consoles came out. Because wasn't it like in the middle of COVID, like the newer ones, the PS5, the Series X? Yeah, it's very interesting. Okay, so speaking of Nintendo Switch Lite, Hyrule Edition pre-orders are live now. Wow. Is like 5 years ago, I would have bought this I would have already known this was going up for pre-order. Let's see. You can pre-purchase it now for $209. Like that doesn't seem bad. That doesn't seem bad. But I don't need this. You know what? Though I do have that other I do have the Tears of the Kingdom Switch. So at least I've got something Zelda related, but we don't have a light in this household. In fact, I've been planning on trying to buy my wife one because I don't think she's here right now. But my thought is like I'd rather her be on a Nintendo Switch than on her phone. scrolling, looking at social media. I mean, which yeah, hey, that's fine if she does. But what if I could? Because there's some times where we have fun playing Switch games together. But then for her, I like to have her own thing. But you know what? She would like, even though that's blue, I think she'd like that because it's closer to purple. I don't know. And look, 200 just for regular, so only 209 to get this special edition. Includes 12-month of the Nintendo Online. Man, would love that. But don't need it. Any of you thinking of getting it? Because I don't know. Okay. Are space shooter games still a rite of passage? That is an interesting thing. Because what do they mean by space shooter? I love shmups, but I do say space shooter when I talk to people. I guess it depends the situation, the context. Because some people might not know what I mean when I'm saying shmup. But even for me, like Space Invaders, I would say Galaga. But those to me are like the proto space shooter. Once you get to like R-Type and Thunder Force, I think those are like the defining shmups. So I wonder what they mean here. And I wonder if, like Jonestown, I could tell just by looking at it. Great game, vertical shmup. And I wonder how much they really mean what they're saying. Oh, and then, something like Vampire Survivors and stuff, it has sort of those tenets of a shooter. Will I be making another shmup? Unlikely, unless as a passion project. Although I did get contacted by 2 publishers. You still have to remember that publishers will throw out a bunch of fishing lines to see who bites. It could still lead to nothing. The initial sales of Crystal Comet probably won't be good enough to rise above the other biters. Okay, so this is interesting. Again, this is game developers, so I might need to read this later because they're really talking about, for argument's sake, though, let's bullet point some things that will save you some time. Making a full game mostly by yourself is going to be a lot harder than you think. Originally, I thought Crystal Comet would take about 9 months. The game was started in 2020 and finished in 2024. Wow. That makes sense, though. Research the target audience before you do anything. They like specific things. Give them what they want. Interesting. I find this interesting, though, because if you're making a game based on something, an idea you have, why would then you change it? But unless this is a more nuanced thing, and it's something like I think even Steven and I talked about. It's like, okay, here's an idea for a game, but what should it look like? And maybe if that wasn't your starting place, then maybe there's more room there where you could be like, okay, what would people want to see? That's a very interesting conversation. Okay, art from the start. Your game's art may actually be more important than the gameplay itself, which hurts me. So, and maybe that's sort of true, but I know Steven has brought that up a lot. But the look of the game. So when people look at it first, like it's very easy to be inspired by something and make something that looks like that. But then you could be like, well, then it looks like everything else people have made by being inspired by that. What is a unique look? So this is good stuff. Get early reaction ASAP. My game was perceived as Party Galaga, which I didn't know until very late in development. I could have used all that. Oh, interesting. That is a good idea. It's almost like a way of crowdsourcing early on by marketing, kind of like showing off a game. That was done with that first-person shooter that came out recently, third or first-person shooter, where you were like toys, and I think there's stuff posted on Twitter that went viral because of how it looked. Get yourself a store page up ASAP. Bonus tip. So I'm going to have to read more of this later. But what I like about this is that it started where it's like, our space shooter game still a rite of passage. As a gaming enthusiast, this question was just very interesting, but it really has nothing to do with what I think. And I think that's not that it has nothing to do with, this is a very smart article, but then it goes into these tenets of game development. I've always heard this. KISS, keep it simple, stupid. Very cool. Very cool. I'm going to check that out later. Let's see. Let me go back here. Oh, wait a minute. I don't think I was sharing that the whole time. So, yeah, check this out. Game developer, they have these lists of game tenets I thought was pretty neat. Think about when game developing. Let's see. Epic game stores offering floppy nights for free this week. Haven't heard of that, but I grab the free games all the time, even if it looks like it's nothing. Let's see. Anything else? No, I think that's about it. I think we talked about some cool stuff. I think what was very interesting was okay, you got my attention. Nintendo brings 3 Japan-only GBA platformers to Switch Online. Oh, what is it? Let's see. Okay, they are the same game, just sequels, but I'm gonna go check this out. Actually, that might be what I do today. I love it when they release Japanese-only games. Anyway, let me stop sharing. Thanks everyone for joining. That was a lot of fun. Loved talking the video game stuff. I guess you guys have yourself a good weekend. Let me know in the comments of this video what you're going to be playing this weekend. Actually, I wonder if I should ask that in the little community thing, so that's content I can talk about. Because I'm really curious what everyone's always playing, because it can always be something different. It's not always what is out and popular at the moment, right? But anyway, have a good weekend. Play a lot of games, and we will talk later. See y'all.